Our first session today, and what a way to start with such a power-packed panel. We have a plethora of industry experts here who are going to share their knowledge today and begin formally the proceedings of today. Food fraud prevention, steps to keep your business safe. Before I call on the esteemed panel members, few points of discussion would like to highlight to all of you, which this esteemed panel is going to cover. Food authenticity and food fraud, why food authenticity is now coming to the forefront of the industry, what is being done to mitigate and prevent food fraud, and many more. So without taking any further time of yours, please help me welcome the honorable panel members with a big round of applause, because it's a morning session, we need the full energy. Joining us first in the panel, Mr. Anil Kumar, Technical Advisor, NPD and Head of Quality and Regulation, TRDP Happy World Private Limited. A big round of applause to Anil ji. Anil ji, welcome to the panel. Please have your seat, sir. Joining next on the panel, we have Ms. Radha Joshi, Corporate Head, Quality and Regulatory from Nuflower Foods. A big round of applause to Radha. Radha, welcome to the panel. Please have your seat. Joining next in the panel, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Uday Manikandan, Director Quality Assurance from Licious. A big round of applause to Uday. Uday, welcome to the panel. Please have your seat. Joining next in the panel, we have Mr. Narendra, Savita, Founder, GreeNox Food Private Limited. A big round of applause to Narendra. Narendra, welcome to the panel. Please have your seat. And now, ladies and gentlemen, would like to call the honorable moderator of this panel session, Mr. ABIR MUKHERJEE, CTO from Alpha Milk. A big round of applause to ABIR ji. ABIR ji, welcome to the panel. We have already heard ABIR ji yesterday, and we have enjoyed thoroughly his sessions. And ABIR ji, I'm sure in your good hands and with such eminent panel, it's going to be a cracking morning session. So all over to you, and looking forward to a great panel session.
Good morning, everybody. As I was introduced, myself ABIR MUKHERJEE from Alpha Milkfoods. Basically, I'm a dairy technologist, and that's in a nutshell about me. Before we go to the session, I would request everybody to introduce themselves, starting with Mr. Anil.
Hello, myself Anil Kumar. I'm a baker, basically. By the studies, I have done only statistics, quality controls, and now I am a baker with 40 years of experience. I'm ex-Britannian, now working with the presently TRDP Happy World. This is not known to the most of the people. If I'll tell you that it is a Mario brand, is our brand. Jahan dikhe Mario, apna samajh ke kha liyo. This is my company at present. We are making rusk, biscuits, and cake and noodles. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So my name is Uday. So I handle the quality assurance for Licious. I think many of you would have seen the product. Licious is one of the unicorn in the industry, producing meat and meat products. Hi.
A very good morning to everyone, and yes, it's a morning session, first session of the day. I would like to introduce myself. I'm Radha Joshi. I'm heading quality and regulatory function with Nuflower Food and Nutrition Private Limited. So it is basically a nutraceutical company which is into manufacturing of RUTF, RUSF, which are specialized food product meant for infants and children from 6 months to 59 months of age. These are like ready-to-use therapeutic food, ready-to-use supplementary food, and yes, these are like energy-dense product. And I have around 18 plus years of experience being a food technologist by qualification, and I have been associated with many projects related to food safety, quality in industries, with industry associations, regulatory domain, as well as various like ministries like MOFPI and all, for food safety, for quality assurance, and definitely these emerging areas of food fraud, authenticity, as well as food security. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Narendra Savita. I have started healthy food QSR across Delhi NCR. Basically, हम लोगों की थाली में green vegetables और fruits रखते हैं instead of capsules and supplements. So we started back in 2017 and we are serving nutritional count food. Basically हमारे मेन्यू में हम ये सब include करते हैं कि लोगों के intake में कितना प्रोटीन है, कितना कार्ब्स है, कितना फाइबर है. So we are growing like across Delhi NCR and now that's all from my side.
Thank you. Thank you, Narendra ji. Basically, it's very strange to start the panel with a food fraud in the very morning. सुबह सुबह हम आपको बता दें कि जी आपके खाने में काफ़ी कुछ गड़बड़ हो सकती है, तो इट्स वेरी स्ट्रेंज. और rather to one angle, just have a warning that be cautious of what we are eating. And what is the difference between a knowledgeable mistake and a knowing mistake is the role of a food fraud. Food fraud is not unintentional. It is something that is being done intentionally for the simple one reason, commercial benefits. Worldwide, and don't think it's an Indian scenario or an Asian scenario. Don't think that only Indians or Asians are bad or the Africans are bad. It's a worldwide scenario, and you can have nth number of cases, right from South America to US to even Europe. Very simple fruit frauds like mixing of water with milk in Italy in 2019, horse meat in US or in Europe or in US, they had only 2% of Parmesan cheese actually so. So it's not that before we go to the session, let's be very clear that it is not an Indian perspective. It's a worldwide scenario, and that's why the world is so conscious about the food frauds being done. Nth number of things are there. Yesterday I had a panel on smart technologies. Why? The simple reason, we have to give the best to the consumer. You have got the technologies, you have got the concepts like your HACCP, say whatever the traceability is there, the IoTs are there, the datas are there. So everything is to be controlled, and that is the duty of the producer to ensure it out. Because he is the link between farm to fork. And I hope I have with me a various, all varied fields from which the people are there. We have Mr. Baker here, and man from the, generally when we talk of food, we think of, in India, we think of all the veg things, like vegetables, milk, but we have somebody from the meat industry or the non-veg industry, which is the maximum in the world, giving us the scenario here. We have the nutritionist here. We have right from the person who serves, who checks what we are serving to the plate. So I would start with Mr. Anil on the food authenticity and food frauds that are going on in the market or the scenario. So over to Mr. Radha.
Thank you, ABIR. I think ABIR has little bit given you the hint regarding the authenticity and the food frauds being happening worldwide. It is not a problem of India. Sometimes we are saying that Indian is cheat and all that. It is worldwide is happening, and it is being done intentionally. If I want to explain what is the food authenticity, we can say that it refers to the accurate representation of a food product in terms of its origin, its ingredients, its processing method, and quality. And all food regulations, worldwide food regulations are supporting this, and through the regulations of labeling. If you see any product, packed product, then you can see in the label all these things are described. Your nutrition panel is described, allergens are described, date of manufacturer, batch code, everything, traceability, everything is there. So it is just supporting the authenticity of the product, traceability of the product. And now, on the other hand, what is food fraud? food fraud involves intentionally misleading consumer about the nature of quality of the food product for economical gains. Mr. ABIR has also emphasized on this, economically gains, and this is happening worldwide. So this can be include the adulteration, substitution, mislabeling, or you can say counterfeiting of a food product, which is a high risk for the consumer, and it can undermine the consumer's trust in the food industry. We are all sitting here, audience, everybody is here from some food industries. And we have to save the food industry and we have to take it forward. If this kind of all food fraud will keep on happening, people will lose their trust in the food industry. So we have to look after how we can prevent it, how we can detain it. I'll forward this to the next.
Thank you, Licious. So what we are much more emphasizing on, what I understood from you, on that the trust which we are to develop. The trust is very important. And with this, I move on to my next speaker for the day. I switch over to Madam Radha, who will be talking about why the food authenticity is so important for the industry and how it is to be prevented and what are the processes and what are the steps that are to be taken.
Thank you, Anil ji. So yes, like my previous speakers also have emphasized on food fraud, and it is not something which is like local to India only. It had been happening since ages. It is not a new concept. When we say food fraud, the simplest example of food fraud, which has been like occurring from the ages, it's not like melamine in milk powder or the horse meat scandal, but the simple example of a milkman adding water to the milk which we take in the morning. So that is also the simplest example of food fraud that has been occurring since the ages. But yes, why it had become more important, and when we say authenticity, as rightly defined by Mr. Anil also, so authenticity in simpler terms is you get what you buy, you get what you see. So if you are seeing on a packet that it is 100% pure, so you have to get that ingredient. You have to have those ingredients in the product. So just to give some figures, so globally food industry is impacted by 1% because of this food fraud and the authentication issue. So if it comes to the economic losses, so yes, it is very high. It is around like $40 billion which are impacted because of these authentication issues. There are other research also which says that around 10% of our product which we are consuming on a regular basis may contain one or more fraudulent ingredient. So if you are buying, for example, a saffron or which we say kesar, so it is not necessary that it is the authentic one. That are, again, these are on a day-to-day basis. If you go, you buy a saffron milkshake on a roadside restaurants also, or even a good fine dine restaurants also. So you will see, okay, it is priced at say 100 rupee a glass or 50 rupee a glass. But when you see the actual cost of saffron, it is much higher. So, and if you add the cost of milk, sugar, other ingredients also. So these are, authenticity is basically the term which we use, and now we are using it more frequently because the complexity of supply chain has increased with time. Earlier days, the supply chain used to be very small. We used to grow food, we used to consume those food. We used to buy fruit from, fruits and vegetables from local market, and we used to get those. But now the supply chain has become much more complex. There are multiple stakeholders involved from farm to the table when we are getting the food. There was one more recent, in fact in 2015, one study was conducted by ASSOCHAM in which they mentioned that around 60 to 70% of health supplements in the market being sold in India could be faked. So when they mentioned fake, so it meant fake product, counterfeit product, mislabeling, misleading claims. So in health supplement, basically in my sector from which I am, like in nutraceutical, health supplement or functional food, it becomes a prime target because of increasing demand. Nowadays, everyone is very much aware, like post-COVID, everyone is more aware of increasing the immunity. So you will find many products in the market which claim to increase the immunity or say XYZ claim. So these kind of misleading claims, and then substitution of the major ingredient by some substandard ingredient. So authenticity plays a very important role because as a consumer, when you are taking any health supplement or nutraceutical or functional food, so the objective is very clear. You want some kind of functionality. But if the product is not authentic, if it is not real to what it claimed to be, then the impact are definitely, it may have some side effects also. So the study by SOCHM was really an eye-opener, after which FSSAI had also started working on various regulations and all. And when it comes to what all we can do, so from a food manufacturer point of view, yes, we need to build that trust among all our suppliers. We should know our vendor the best, how they are sourcing it, how they are procuring it, how they are supplying it to us. So that is one thing. Traceability, which we say, digital traceability. Of course, my fellow colleagues will put more light on that aspect. But another need of the hour is to have a real-time alert mechanism, which can be operated on a global level. So whenever there is any alert globally for any ingredient, for example, so there should be a database available which can be looked by all the manufacturer directly, so that they are not unaware of the potential contamination or potential counterfeiting. Yes, sir. I think I would add, once my other colleagues have also said. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Actually, it's a varied topic. It's a generally overlapping topic of food fraud, where you have our consciousness on day-to-day life. And to throw much more light on that, I would request Mr. Narendra to please enlighten on dealing with food fraud, authentic solutions, and some examples, and with the lessons learned. Over to you, Mr.
Sir, basically, we already heard about what exactly food fraud and how it is happening in our day-to-day life. Being a food operator, it is really understandable. Being a food operator, you should know about what exactly going on into market. Or being a consumer, you should authenticate food also. But I'm just talking about like being a food operator, you should protect your brand name also, and you should know how it is happening into market. So in food industry, you know very well, food industry is very sensitive. It already belongs to our your consumer well-being and their health issues. So there are some few practices are required to understand how it can be prevented. So your sir already you asked me about some food fraud examples. Like, so day to day we are seeing olive oil issue. You know, it is we are purchasing olive oil and it is written on olive oil. You know how it is happening. It is written 100% extra virgin olive oil. How it is happening? You know, there are some substitute called as palm oil. It is odorless, it is colorless. And nowadays what is happening, we are paying 100% price of all extra virgin olive oil, and what we are getting, it is mixed with palm oil. And later on we can see like honey with maple syrup also. you are just written at 100% organic honey. And what we are getting, it is added by 10 to 20% honey, but it is added by approximately cornstarch syrup, other sugar syrup. So this kind of food fraud, we are just watching every day. As well as being a food editor, it's your responsibility to protect your brand. So there are some techniques are there, basic practices are there, so that you can save your brand name also. As I'm running my own brand, so it's my responsibility to protect my system from food fraud. Like food fraud can be intentional or unintentional, are already told about it. So basically, what we do to protect our brand and for such things, what we do, first of all, there are some points I'll discuss about it. First thing is, you should know your supplier, basically. So before purchasing anything, if you are a food operator, you should know about your supplier, basically his integrity about products. So before purchasing anything, before onboarding your supplier into your system, what you need to do, you just need to verify his every micro details. And after onboarding with you in your system, what we should do later, regular basis assessment and their audits also required. Later on comes to point of traceability. If you protect your brand, traceability is a really crucial for every industry. But traceability is make your system more robust and sustainable model for your business. Traceability involves like you should know your ingredient origin state, how your supplier producing that particular ingredient, and how hygiene process he is following, and later how is how is transporting, and how is saves your raw material with contamination. And later on comes to the point for strong supply chain. So there are many technologies into market, advanced technologies are there for strong supply chain. So in detail, strong supply chain, I will not go deep into it, but there are some technologies who will give you real-time data about supply chain. Like you can track temperature of particular ingredient and contamination and any sign of any negative fallout of any particular products. Later comes to point for following government norms. Like or being a food operator, we should stick with such types of any local authority norms to avoid any unlawful situation or any penalties. And later comes to the point, for any brand production, it is required testing and authentication of product. Once your product delivered at your food processing unit, you should have a team to ensure about quality control and everything. Like there are many testing, advanced testing technology are there. So my colleague will discuss about it in deep. So you should understand how it is happening into market. Like any single point, any wrong mistake of your staff and subordinate staff, whatever, it may degrade your brand name. And later comes to the point of training of your workforce. It's really important task, because if you are trained in your workforce like training your workforce like how, so that training your workforce like SOPs of your products, and later food standardization, so that any sign of any kind of food fraud is recognized, they can recognize any sign of food fraud into industry. And later you should engage your consumer too in this to avoid such kind of food fraud. Like customer education and customer engagement is really important, like how this is happening. If you tell to your customer how you are producing your products, how from where you are originating that ingredient, and how you are maintaining the hygiene of the product. And later you should tell to your customer and appreciate them for any finding of other like any hazardous species and any suspicious information about your product. Encourage them to report that incidents and train them to identify the genuine products also. So this is my side to protect your brand, and there are some examples and deep technology we'll discuss by my colleague also.
Thank you, Mr. Narendra. Nice summary of the total block, the total chain of operations. And to control the fraud at a manufacturer's end, you always require a technology involved into it. And with the technology, how to prevent, how to manage the whole chain. I would request Mr. Uday to throw light from a different angle, because he is from an industry which is generally very much susceptible to it. Quite a few times, it's a high microbiological thing. The things which we gather from that, maybe 1% of what is happening in the whole industry, or what we come to know. And just, it's not a new thing. Food fraud, can anybody tell me that how much you expect the food fraud to be? How recent you would expect it to be? Anyone?
16 million.
Food fraud is something that was in occurrence in the 16th and 17th century. The earliest example, documented example, as Madam told me that the adulteration is right from the ages with the mixing of water into the milk. But wine was one product that was being banned to be diluted by the European kings in 16th century. They have got laws for it, which were later amended. So it's not a new phenomenon, and over the years, the technological advances have come up in this regard, and I would request Mr. Uday to take it forward.
Thank you, Mr. ABIR. Yeah. So I think we spoke a lot about authenticity, right? So wherever we talk about food fraud, we always talk about state of being, right? So what we actually promise to the customer, and we have to deliver the same, right? It might be right packaging, it might be the right product, or the consumer delight, which we are trying to put in, right? So probably I would start with asking one question, that as consumers, what is our responsibility to prevent food fraud? Maybe it's a different question, but still I really wanted to understand from audience, any one of you, just tell me, like, what is the step which as a consumer we can take? Of course, I am also a consumer for other products or my products own. What is the one step which we could take to prevent food fraud? Anybody? Yes. There's a mic there.
Yeah, good morning. I am
Good
Harish
morning.
from Adani, Wilmar.
Good morning.
Yeah, your question is how to check the food fraud as a customer. Basically, I feel that as a customer, first we should see the brand name if you are receiving the packed product. And then if it is sealed, any seal arrangement is there. If it is sealed, if seal is intact, then okay. If it is seal is manipulated, means some adulteration is done in the supply chain. So that is the main thing we should see in the brand. Thank you.
Perfect. So, as consumer, we have a lot of responsibility, right? So to buy the right brand, it always works with the psychology that we go to a supermarket. All the biscuits are put into the same rack, right? So that's for ease of buying. and also develop a competition, show that like these are all the products which is available, the range of products which is available. But still, we select particular brand, we select particular product which we want. It might be a cream, or it might be a cracker, it might be a salt biscuit, or whatever it is, right? But always we try to go back and see like what is the manufacturing rate, right? Do we ever go and see, is there any preservative into it? Do we ever go and see like, is there a possibility that this could contain some adulteration which could impact me, right? So these are all some of the things which the consumer also has a responsibility to buy the right brand, right? So this is one thing which actually we have to do. I would say that recently there are a lot of development even in the consumer side, that consumers call to the customer care, ask about like whether this product has these kind of possibilities of adulteration. This is something which is a preservative which is possible in this kind of a meat. So I'm from a meat industry, and the complex of handling a meat. Meat cannot be manufactured in a laboratory, surely. It cannot be like 5-6 products put together and ingredient put together and we make a meat, right? So it is something which has to be sourced even from the natural availability. Example, the biggest challenge is not even the chicken, because chicken we almost made it as customized as possible, whatever we have. The second thing which I would insist is like to have a perfect supply chain, right? Technology is something, whenever we think about like I need a solution, right? We always think about a technology, even if it is a mobile phone or it is an app or whatever it is. So we always think about like I need a technology. A simple thing in a house, like I need a clean water for drinking. We actually go to some kind of a technology, right? So we think about having an RO which has this much TDS, this much hardness based on the water of input which we have, right? So technology is something which always we are into, right? So the supply chain, I think my colleague gave in detail about the technology which we need to talk about. But still, in a manufacturing shop floor, right? So responsibility begins with an operator, right? Even though we think about visibility of raw material which we source, we try to have some kind of a technology. Recently, I think many of the companies are trying to adopt blockchain, right? So blockchain is one of the system where you have QR codes from the sourcing point to the fork, right? So it's a farm to fork module. I think ABIR was talking about the same thing. ABIRji was talking about the same thing when he was starting the session itself, right? This gives a lot of visibility to different stages of complex process which you handle, right? So, but still, there are issues in challenges in this as well. Like we should have the right resource, we should have the trained resource, as my colleague was mentioning. And training is like so much important, even though the technology is there, because you need to have somebody who is actually going to handle your false proof system as well, right? So in fact, doing all these things also, even the technology is there, you need to have a system where, example, I would stress upon batch manufacturing technology. I think many companies have tried to put that across for two reasons. One is to ensure that the wastages are less. The other one is like to ensure that we are coming out of all this food fraud, food security, and the way you source. This is something which is very essential for all the industry to ensure the authenticity of the product is perfectly delivered to the customer, right? The second thing which I would insist is the traceability, right? So the traceability technology, which many industry, I think it is widely available everywhere. I think even we have something here as well. People talk about traceability. Yesterday we had a corporate presentation on traceability as well. So what is that has been designed as a product, what has been put as an ingredient, and when it is produced, where it is produced, how it is produced, and to whom it is produced, for what kind of people it is produced, and how it is delivered, right? So this is something which is very essential. To understand till every stages how the product authenticity has behaved, and every stages how did I test, what is the analytical parameter which we have, and how the history flows. I think many industry work on trend analysis, right? So this is very simple thing which we talk about, but still, the trend analysis gives you a detail of like how your product was behaving before, how your product is behaving now, and how does the product is accepted from the consumer point of view, right? So these are all the things which the industry can surely put across, bring in as a point of technology solution. One more thing on the blockchain, I think blockchain has developed, a QR code system, right? So when you try to source a product, I could take examples of fish and seafood again, right? So fish and seafood are something you have to source it from the sea. And from the sea, when the fish is caught, which was the day it was caught, and from there, how it has been transported. See, for example, it has to move in a cold chain to the processing facility. And there is a QR code from that start point to the delivery, the last mile delivery, which we try to give to our customer. So these are all the technologies which can put even in a complex process to assure that the entire food chain is not susceptible to the food fraud. So I would end up here, and if I have some questions, I can take up.
Thank you, Mr. Uday. Nice insight on the things that are going on at the QR codes. Actually, to sum up, I would put it like this, that this is a relationship with the consumer to the original producer. We are sitting here, we fine-tune the things. For example, if I am from a milk and dairy industry, what we are doing, we are taking the milk from the original producer, for the man who is in the villages, or from a farm, or from a collection center, a herd, whatever name you give it. We are changing the format, and we are supplying it to a consumer. That may be me also, that may be you also. Similarly, as nutrition or from any confectionery, we are not the producers. So how to ensure that? Off and on, we pay a lot for organic products. How much we insure? That's a responsibility a manufacturer has. Generally, you must be going on the shows or you must be going to the exhibitions where you can very well find stores with organic here. They give you a QR code and they give you a guarantee that yes, you scan it out and this is from this farm. How is it possible? Nobody takes this out. So what is it? That we are to ensure that we have the total traceability from the exact produce to the person who has purchased. That chain until and unless that is given, and how much he is trusting us, how we can develop. It's not the case of developing yourself. You have to develop the consumer also by giving him a good food so that he has a brand loyalty also. And also to the producer, you have to educate it out. You have to, develop a supplier, consumer, producer reliability. What is the cultural difference between an MNC or an Indian brand? Just developing it out. We develop all the partners together so that the ultimate user is benefited. What we talked about is we never go with the pesticides also. No declaration is there. Some confusions always remain. Like, for example, lactose is intolerant, but that is produced, that's a basic in your milk. Very few people know that they are lactose intolerant. Generally, हम लोग कह देते हैं कि फलाना जानवर को दूध हजम नहीं होता है. That's not something that is God gifted. That is a simple case of lactose intolerant. Nth number of examples are there, nth number of cases are there. For the systems are there. You can name hazard analysis, vulnerability analysis, where you can always trace it out, but that depends on your commitment. And commitment has to come from every level. Unless and until everybody is committed, examples will keep on moving. That may be your horse meat scandal, or even, I think shrimps, prawns are being injected with the, glucose to turn it to shrimp. There's a few examples out there, and that will keep on coming. With that, I think we have finished all the time. Thank you for your patient listening. We are open to any questions from your side. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, can we have a big round of applause for this wonderful panel here? And now, in the interest of the time, we can have the questions. So yes, please keep your hand raised and please introduce yourself and the organization and question to which specific panel member. If it is a generic one, I think ABIR can decide which panel member to throw the question.
Yeah, I just want to about the meat industry. So present days we see the poultry farms, chicken poultry farms. It has been like a mushroom growth. I mean, we see poultry, today chicken is this size like anda. Tomorrow the chicken is ready for the sale. End of the day, these are the source. As you say, I am from dairy and milk is so and so. Basically, being a consumer, I don't agree that everybody is getting pure milk or not adulterated milk. Yes, so this might be the branded. So in that case, my question is, why non-branded things is being banned by government or by authorities or by... Because we have 3 Ps, population, poverty, and pollution. When you come to food pollution, then it starts from pesticides, ends in preservative. While you are getting pesticide for a better growth to feed the public, and end of the day, you are sending market with preservative. So these 3 P's, end of the day, are coming, and we don't find any solution from this forum, starting from yesterday. We are just highlighting these are the problems we should do, who will do, how to be done. What is the role of government? What is the role? As a consumer, if I buy something, obviously it's not possible for me for a traceability, whether it is the perfect cumin or adulterated cumin. It's not possible. But again, in that case, I have to left, or there should be a norm, avoid all non-branded material. Okay, we know the branded companies like MNCs and all, there is a protocol, there is a SOP, there is a supply audit. I mean, everything feeds up, there is a traceability, there is a training, checking, everything. So we can little bit hopefully rely. But today's what is happening? We are talking from industry level. What about the raw material? What about the wheat and rice? How many times it's being sprayed? What is the limit of the spray? What is the limit of the color in the street vendor? They are adding color. They don't know what is the ppm to be added. They make it very colorful. And what is the awareness of people? They don't know it should be a carcinogenic. This is a diazo, and we should not take this. This is very attractive. Let's have this. 30% our population is taking from street vendor. So we, in fact, there should be a summary that what is way forward. From this summit, at least we should go learning something, that what is way forward, who will do what.
May I sum it up, sir? May I sum it up?
Yes.
May I know, sir, may I know about you, something about you? Your name, please, sir.
This is Abhijit Ghosh here. I'm from Born Industries, Ludhiana.
Okay.
As quality.
Right, Mr. Ghosh, I'll start with you itself, just the name. How many times as a Bengali person you have gone to eat, to consume a rasgulla from Haldiram or Kesi Das?
Honestly speaking,
how many times
if you ask me, honestly speaking, I make rasgulla in my own house.
Okay, you are making
yearly twice I buy.
Right. Sir, you may be one of the rarest cases as far as a Bengali is concerned. I'm also a Bengali. That's why I asked you. The reason is the trust lies with what I told in the summing up. That lies with everybody among us. As a consumer, we are to be made conscious. we are to be very conscious at what we are eating. We are eating a particular product which is branded, definitely we are checking it out. But nobody is going to force you. Nobody can force you. It's up to you to come up. What we as a producer can do, we can educate. We can go for the campaigns. We can tell the people that particular product is good for you.
So my question is, I understand you. My question is then how we will fit up this population versus poverty. Pollution is coming from there. Basically, you have to produce more quantity, less time.
Sir, I'll take up
Basically, you have to take a genetically modified, you have to take a lot of things which is not permitted.
Yes, thank you very much for your very interesting and thought-provoking question. So I would like to just answer step by step. So one is definitely by all the deliberations by the panel member, I just want to clear, when we say brand, so it doesn't mean that non-branded foods are unsafe. It only means that as a customer, we develop a kind of trust also, and it is the historic data. But yes, when it comes to food fraud, the brands which are the most popular are most subjected to counterfeits also. If you travel, if you go to the rural area, you will find many counterfeit or fake products of the original product. You will find, say for Parle-G, the spelling would be different. For Bisleri, the spelling would be different. So it is only the brands which have their brand value get counterfeits the most. So that is again a very important aspect when it comes to food fraud. The second thing is the complexity of supply chain. So the smaller is the supply chain, the simpler is the supply chain, automatically the product is less prone for any kind of fraud. So if I give you an example, if I'm going to buy something as a street food directly from a vendor who is buying maybe 5 kg of potatoes and making it and frying it in front of me, I think that would be much more safer, because I'm able to see the ingredients which he is procuring and using.
I am talking before that. Sorry to interrupt. I am talking before that.
Yes.
Potato has come to market, but in which condition?
Yes. So
how
now
potato was grown? How
yes.
many spray pesticide has been done?
Yes. So for that, so as a consumer, I have given you my point of view. So as a consumer, yes, the brand is one thing. Second is the supply, not just the supply chain, the simplicity of the processing. And I will just give you one example. I think in the morning also we were discussing among ourselves. The more wholesome a product is, it is less susceptible for food fraud. So if you are buying, say, whole red chili, it may be like you can easily detect it is safe. It is like red chili. But the moment you buy chili flakes, there are possibilities of adulteration. And then if you go for chili powder, randomly if you are buying, so automatically it becomes, the adulteration becomes difficult to get detected. So with each processing steps in the processing, basically your complexity increases and chances of food fraud also increases. So coming to the point, yes, what are the other stakeholders?
Just one second, madam. Before this, the supply chain has to be present days, has to be not like earlier that you grow it and eat it.
Yes.
It's not. That because the network has increased.
Yes. So
now about chili you are telling, but my question is how the capsicum or chili is grown.
Yes.
Today's capsicum is this size. Tomorrow the man is going to sell this size.
So for that.
And everybody knows in Delhi market, we go to the vegetables, they are all glossy.
Yes.
They are all glazing. And people, awareness, education, whatever.
Mr. Ghosh, I think this is what you are much more focused on it, why it is being sold on the market.
So for that, I was just...
As a forum, food safety and all.
Sir, what we are talking about
we are talking about the general things that we should do, we should not do.
Because
I think being in food industries, I think everybody is aware what we should do, what we should not. But now, way forward, what we should take from here, that's my question.
Yes. So, sir, just a second. I was just about to come to that point. So, your question...
Mukherjee, just to tell you, I think for the interest of the time, and Mr. Ghosh, just for the interest of the time, sir.
Just give me one.
I will just request that it's a very great question he asked, and I think we have a lot of answers here, but
Yes.
we can just take it a little away.
At least I am vegetarian, I don't take chicken. Being Bengali, like ABIR Babu, আমি মাছ মাংস ডিম খাই না I am Bengali.
স্যার
But I
আপনি
just
খান
want
না
to
সেই
know-
কথাটা আলাদা
But-
কিন্তু
but-
এখানে
but I just
the
want to
world
know-
eats a lot.
But I
So
just
we
want to
we
know-
can concentrate on that.
No, concentrate
You may
to
be-
chicken. I am concentrating chicken.
Yeah, I think I should speak.
You visit a chicken poultry farm. Today it is like anda. Tomorrow it is being sold 2 kilos, 4
Mr.
kilos.
Ghosh, Mr. Ghosh, for
Where
that.
is the source?
Mr. Ghosh, just for the
Radhaji.
interest of time, I will take
I-
one minute.
give to
Uday,
me, yeah.
Uday, just 1 minute. So we, for the
Uday
three
will be the
piece,
right person.
the three piece which you were mentioning, so the answer for your question also lies in three P's. It is public-private partnership, and we have a very good authority, which is like Food Safety Standards Authority of India, which is also working towards standardization of all these norms, harmonization of the pesticide residues. They have their surveillance mechanism also in place. But yes, you must appreciate the act came in 2006, and we have not been like decades old in terms of the awareness and development. So a lot of work is being done on ground level also, and with time it will definitely happen. And over to you, Uday. I will
Just
just
1
not
minute.
take time.
Just 1 minute. Before
Yes.
that, I finish food safety, FSSSI or APIDA or legal metrology, whatever may be. If that is the case, then you are saying that if that is the case, then what is the chance of coming unauthorized, unlevel food into the market?
Sir, as a food technologist,
And why ABIR Babu is telling, if you go to the stocks now, there are more organic stocks than inorganic. More. Everybody is declaring organic. How they are coming and being sold in the market as a trade name of organic?
so as part
Food
of this,
safety is
Uday will-
stricken up.
I'll take up,
It's a
right?
food
So
forum.
I'm the right person. You were actually talking from the beginning, right? So everybody silent. Good. Fine. So, सर आपने एक क्वेश्चन पूछा तो मैं ऐसा समझ रहा हूँ कि लाइक आप लोग सब लोग अभी रूम में बात कर रहे हैं तो बाहर तो फूड अडल्ट्रेशन तो हो रहा है उसके लिए हमको क्या करना है सही है सर एम आई राइट राइट सो बीइंग ए वेजिटेरियन you're concerned about asking a question that like there is something which is produced today and it has been injected by something and it has become bigger, right? Two things to see this, whether this is a myth, whether it has been understood as a myth, कि like ऐसा होता है, मैंने सुना है, मैंने ऐसा देखा है, ये हो रहा है. There are two things to understand that. I leave that to the decision of the audience. The second thing, who is responsible for changing this, right? हम सब लोग भारतवासी है, so हमको पता है कि like हमारा भारत में क्या change कर सकते हैं, कितना change कर सकते हैं, कितना time में change कर सकते हैं, right? Let's divide that into three parts. One is कि like हम आज जाके सब कुछ बंद कर देंगे, क्या होगा? यही होगा, right? Everything will become silent, right? So and we will be into a very big probable issue. Right? It might be a bigger chunk of political issue or whatever it is, right? I think I would not agree to your point that nothing is done, right? I would agree to your point that something is done and it will surely change something. I'll take some examples of like who doesn't have a mobile phone. Anybody in the room? Anybody in the country? Everybody has, right? And I think this didn't happen before, maybe even 5-10 years before. Today we all have, we are all tracked, we are all traced, everything happens. This changes happen based on the technology. I attended your corporate presentation yesterday, I'm right. So you were mentioning something like हमको राम भी होना है, रावण भी होना है. Am I right, sir? Am I talking to the right person?
He is not one.
He is not the person, yeah. I heard a presentation like that. Yeah. Correct. So, yeah, you don't support Duryodhan. Very good. So the thing is, हमको कुछ change करना है ना, तो responsibility सब जगह से आना है. One is something which has to come from the government itself. Number one, right? How government will change something? Government will not just like that go and change something, right? So there is something which has to be induced by an industry. Meat industry is such type of one. where, you know, for example, I'm talking about example which I have seen in my industry is something called a biosecurity, for example, right? Biosecurity is something which is in a farm level management of a chicken, right? This chicken doesn't have an antibiotic residue. This chicken doesn't have any preservatives added. These chickens are tested, health governed, health certificate is given, and then they are produced according to these norms, and it is certified by an FSSAI requirement, and then it is goes for slaughtering, and then comes to our consumers, right? Whether the entire country will follow this? No. Of course not. I agree with your point, right? But how to change this is both sides. Customer has to buy something which is authentic. That's what this entire forum is talking about. That is something which is very much essential for us to promote. The advertisement, the promotions, the certifications, and the FSSAI which tells that these products are good, these products are bad, is something which is required for the consumer to listen, right? मैं आज जाके एक wet market में chicken ले लेता हूँ, ठीक है, कुछ नहीं होगा मुझे, मैं तो ये बचपन से खा रहा था, right? कल मैं कुछ और कंपनी से, branded कंपनी से मैं खरीद रहा हूँ, right? What is the difference I am making? Whether I am teaching the same thing to my child is something which is important, right? So I buy mutton from somebody where my father was buying. I would actually try to change that when I am undergoing something as a consumer thing, and I think that this is safe for my children. So this is something which is has to get emerged from the consumer point of view, number one. Number two, how the government will support. I think there are a lot of things which FSSAI has tried to put. I'll take only 30 seconds. I know my moderator is, yeah, 30 seconds, sorry for that. So government has put a lot of norms to educate people, to also try to put some consistent systems to the industry. See, for example, meat is not just like that produced. There are a lot of systems put up by the FSSAI, and we also follow a lot of systems to ensure that this is something which has to be produced. And this is audited by FSSAI, and FSSAI promotes this also, right? The third thing, FSSAI handles meeting with us, right? So, see, for example, in the country, somebody is the best in manufacturing of chocolates, or somebody is the best manufacturing of dairy products or something. FSSAI, we have contacts with FSSAI, we have meetings with FSSAI. We suggest that these are all the things which has to be changed in this industry, and we have to bring norms and regulations for this as well. I think a couple of my team is also here. We attended some meetings with FSSAI directly, and we try to put across these are all the things. That goes for verification, that goes for discussion, and those comes into the country as well, right? So, मैं agree करता हूँ आपसे कि like ये कल change नहीं होगा, but ये change हो रहा है, ये ज़रूर change होगा, right? We are not going to eat food fraud materials surely, right? Because other countries are not eating. It doesn't mean that they are living more than us or we are living less than them, right? But the only thing that we cannot pass this curse to our children. For that, we are working on, and and whatever examples or whatever thoughts which I try to put across, think about that. All these things are put together to a central point where the ultimate responsibility is of only two people. One is producer, the other one is consumer, right? There I end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Uday, and thank you so much, Radha and ABIR. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much, Mr. Ghosh, for that question as well. Now, I would request the panel members to kindly be on stage. I would like to call on stage Mr. Asimanand Mandal from Rockwell Automation to kindly do the honors of felicitating this wonderful panel. Can we have Mr. Mandal on stage? Sir, questions? Yeah, sir, question I would humbly request, because we have already overshot the time. The panel members are there, so you can always take it with them after the session. Yes, absolutely, sir. You can take it after the panel session, because we have other speakers and the panel members for the next sessions waiting. So thank you so much for the consideration. So, yeah, do we have Mr. Asimananda Mondal here from Rockwell Automation? Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Mondal. Please come to the stage. And we'll begin with the felicitation first. Mr. Anil Kumar from TRDP Happy World Private Limited. A big round of applause to Mr. Anil Kumar from TRDP Happy World. Thank you, Mr. Kumar, for your wonderful contribution. Moving next to Ms. Radha Joshi from Nuflower Foods. A big round of applause for Ms. Radha Joshi for her wonderful contribution in the panel session. We move next to Mr. Uday Manikandan from Licious. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Uday Manikandan for his wonderful contribution in the panel. Moving next to Mr. Narendra Savita from GreeNox Food Private Limited. A big round of applause to Mr. Narendra for his wonderful contribution in the panel session. And now we would like to felicitate our honorable panel moderator, Mr. ABIR MUKHERJEE from Alpha Milk. A big round of applause to Mr. Mukherjee for his wonderful contribution in the panel and beautifully moderating the session. Would request the panel members if you could kindly step forward for a group photograph. And Mr. Mondal, if you could also join them. A big round of applause once again, ladies and gentlemen, for the first panel session of day 2 on food fraud prevention, steps to your business safety. And thank you so much to all the panel members for their valuable contribution in the panel.